came across something in my news feed that touches home, and when I looked at an article, something really irritated me, and I'm gonna be going over it, which is suicides have increased in active duty and reserve in 2023, yeah, compared to 2022. This really hits home because, yeah, I've been in the military, but what came up to a point to me was they reported the suicide rate of about 28 suicides for every 100,000 service members last year, which is a 12% increase from 2022. But the biggest part that irked me off is what the director said of the suicide prevention said. This increase is not statistically significant. 12% increase, really? You're going not significant. An increase of one is significant when it comes to suicide. I don't know where they got that idea that not statistically significant because it's at 12%. One, an increase of one is significant. You shouldn't be having increases. And they go into their math of how they figure this out, calculating my active force of 1.28 million troops, about 330,000 reserves, 430 National Guards. They claim they're struggling to bring them down. Since they've collected it, and it goes into how many were actually reported in 2023, which was 523, compared to the 493 in 2022. So, but the actual ones who have died was 363, which is an increase of 331. This is a percentage of who saw increases. The Air Force and Navy all saw increases. Marine Corps stayed about the same. Rates among the reserve troops increased 8%, yet National Guard decreased by 5%. Well, that decrease is nice, but when the fact that there was an increase that went over the decrease, that's not good. And they go into the age group of males under the age of 30. It's about 61% of the suicide. They've been on they've been increasing, yes, since 2011. They tried to improve mental health care for the troops, and due to the increase, and they in 2002 they put this committee, which made 127 recommendations for near and long-term solutions. Yeah, and gun-safe measure reduces suicides and force, including waiting periods for the purchase of firearms and ammunition by service member on military property. That won't do any good. Trust me, I know. The panel said the department should also raise the minimum age to 25 for service members to buy guns and ammunition, and should require anyone living in military housing to register privately owned firearms. In addition, the panel said the government should restrict the possession and storage of privately owned firearms in military barracks and dormitories, which technically is stomping on their rights. And state agencies have already been taken to court over raising the age to purchase a firearm in their state to 21. And these solutions that they even that these issue solutions will not do any good because get an 18-year-old on a fire 18-year-old a firearm on a range. It could just it'd be done right there. It could be done right then and there, which is going to cause more issues. Trying to keep soldiers from owning privately owned firearms is not the way to go. And let's see. Yeah, implement, trying to implement these. Some recommendations include expanding telehealth services, increasing appointment availability by revising the mental health staff model, launching a comprehensive public education campaign on firearm safety, and updating the amount of suicide prevention training. You can keep drilling and drilling and drilling, but that doing all these excess training and extending the services, yeah, will help. Reviving the staff model, I don't know how much that's gonna help. The education, uh, soldiers get a lot of education on firearm safety. There's no change in that. And updating the amount of suicide prevention training, uh, updating or even adding more is not gonna change it. I mean, helping others, teaching other rest of teaching the soldiers how to recognize when someone might be on those steps is good, but you're not gonna be changing someone else's mind. Yeah, and the good thing they didn't, because then there'd be a whole lot of issues. Their efforts to get a secure storage of their firearms, practically going service member, giving service members more options, secure storage. Yeah. This says completed 20 of the 83 recommendations by the commission. Said that prepared statement issued this Thursday that the Pentagon will make an unprecedented investment in suicide prevention. So here's a few things why I think some of their stuff is not gonna work because they're not tackling the cause of these problems. They are only going after symptoms, like going after the firearms. That's not gonna stop them. They'll find other ways to do it. Add additional training. That's not gonna help. It's just gonna if they have decided, it's pretty much well too late. Give them the therapy. That's only gonna I can help, but it's not gonna to prevent these issues from coming up. There are multiple things that can cause soldiers to get into a depressive state, like the same things that civilians run into. Well, people on the civilian side run into, but there's additional things like crummy leadership, leaders that only care about themselves and don't care about what's going on with their troops. Then you have, which I'm going to say, which is going to cause a lot of more issues because when these leaders get up in the higher ranks where they show they don't care about their soldiers, don't care about anything, and all they want to do is make themselves look good, you're going to have soldiers either A, get out of the service, B, since they cannot get out for a long period of time, they're going to start falling into depression, stuff like that. I know of a soldier, well, they're out now, that it'll be another career. They ended up busting one of their legs while busting one of their knees, and they wouldn't be able to continue their career. But her higher ups dragged their feet and wouldn't let them on them getting out. And then also this individual got raped by an NCO, and I guess the report didn't go right because this NGO was still in, which I think that NCO needs to be removed. But when your leadership is crap, just only in it to make themselves look good, and don't care about your well-being, physical or mental, they are the reasons why you have soldiers who get depressed, end up with depression or suicidal, or feel like they cannot even turn into a rapist. And I think it should be a zero tolerance when it comes to rape in the military. Not just, oh, I accuse it, this person supposedly raped me. It's factual evidence that the person raped another individual. Then it is that person needs to be sent to jail. Fort Leonard Wood. Not Fort Leonard Wood, but Fort Leavenworth. And spend the rest of their time there. But when it comes to crappy leaders, they just need to be removed from service. If every place they go, there's a bunch of soldiers end up leaving, or there's a increased rate of depression, and it comes to them, the fact that it's them, they should be removed from leadership and removed from the military. That's my opinion on that. Dude, and I will admit, I when I had my rough time in my civilian life, I had a platoon sergeant who would take me aside because I was showing signs of suppression and I was at the verge of crying because I had hit a really bad spot in my civilian life. But he took me aside, talked with me, gave me options. And that's the kind of leadership you need in the military. It's NCOs who are willing to be tough on you when they need to be, but there for you when you are at your low. Because when you have those, you will maintain a good fighting force. And when you have soldiers who have support, you're going to retain them. And that is always how it's going to be. Is you've got to be tough when you need to be, but when you got soldiers that are down and needing support mentally and emotionally, you're there for them as their leadership. So, if you are listening to this and you're in a leadership position, or you even thinking about joining the military, try to be a leader that will make sure your troops are taken care of mentally and emotionally, as well as making sure that they are ready for the issues of war, and that they're not going to do something to hurt anyone else and or well, themselves. I will see you next time.